Hello, welcome to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly love outlook for the sign of Gemini. This is for March 15th to the 22nd. And you're up, Gemini. I've already pretty much been shuffling for quite some time off camera. And so just letting you know that this is going to be a love outlook for you and another individual. We're going to pull out cards for them and for you. So it's really a outlook or a reading to get clarity on a particular union you're in with someone, a connection, a relationship, right? Ideally a happy love relationship, but it could be a relationship that right now there's a lot of other issues. The issues may be a lot more to do with communication or whatever. So we're just going to see what the outlook is for you, Gemini, today for the next week coming. And remember, it is only a week snapshot, so it's not necessarily indicative of the relationship as a whole or the long-term outlook. It's just to see what the state of this union is at for March 15th to the 22nd. Now, your person is resonating with Six of Swords and you're resonating with Eight of Cups. They see you as the High Priestess and you see them as the Seven of Pentacles. Wow, okay. And, sorry, it's my cat. And they see the relationship or their part in the relationship, their role in it as a Knight of Pentacles, and you see your part, your role in the relationship as an Ace of Swords. Wow. Bottom of the deck, we have Four of Wands. So there you go. You have the 1111 card showing up for you, the Four of Wands, the Twin Flame Soulmate Journey card. It's a nice, strong card for a relationship, albeit generally the beginning of a relationship. But let's get into it, first of all, before we get to that Four of Wands. This is interesting. First, this is how you're resonating, how you see each other, and how you see a role in the relationship. But let's start off here, Gemini. Your person is resonating with a Six of Swords this week coming in, and you are resonating with an Eight of Cups. So you're both walking away, right? You're both walking away. Are you walking away from each other, right? I don't know. I don't know. This is interesting. This could be a relationship that's momentarily separating. Your person is Six of Swords, so this is the desire that they have to move towards harmony. They may actually be physically moving, right? Six of Swords is the card for when you're traveling, moving, changing homes. Six is the number for harmony or moving towards harmony. And with the swords, it's like a decision that you make that you've had enough of bickering and arguing, right? This is someone who's probably decided to either get out of a job or out of an environment, out of a relationship, out of a social group, whatever they are turning their back and moving away from. It's something that has been causing them a lot of strife, right? So it's a very specific, intentional decision to get away from an environment perhaps that's unhealthy, a job situation that is unhealthy or stressful, right? Or a relationship that is unhealthy or stressful, and a desire to just move forward. Sometimes they're moving forward with their family. It's the entire family trying to move away from strife and arguing, perhaps with the extended family or maybe with their community, whatever the case may be. It doesn't only always have to be someone moving away in a singular way, right? Now, Eight of Cups, which is how you're resonating, is in fact somebody moving away in a very singular capacity. So with Eight of Cups, we're talking about specifically with regard to relationships that don't give you back what you put in. You decide to walk away. This is a feeling of, and this is how you're resonating, Gemini, a feeling of you having had enough of pouring your love into cups, into other cups that just don't give you back what you feel you need, right? These cups they're just not the same. They're not offering what you're offering, or they're not fulfilling you. You just feel like your energy is draining into them all the time, all the time. So Eight of Cups is, while Six of Swords is your person really desiring to move away from strife and arguing and negativity, here we're talking about specifically deciding to turn your back on relationships that are draining, that don't revive you, that don't give you back what you put in, and you decide to really take that wisdom and experience and understanding that you have, you turn your back and you move up the hill because you're trying to move towards relationships that have a higher level of engagement. right? They're deeper, that a higher level of engagement, a higher sort of quality of exchange, right? A real exchange situation, not just a situation where you always feel like you're the one filling up, these really, these cups that are chipped. They're made out of, inferior metals. They don't respond. You know what I mean? It's like you just realize that you're not around the type of mentality or the type of spiritually minded, centered people that are like you, right? You just don't feel like you're getting anything back. And more than anything, Eight of Cups is putting boundaries in place also. Remember that 8 is the number for strength and boundaries always in the tarot, right? Major Arcana 8 is the strength card. But without boundaries, we can't maintain our strength. And those are two concepts that go hand in hand in tarot. And so in a lot of the 8 cards, you're always going to see someone setting their boundaries, right? You're always going to see an action or an intention or a desire or a need to set boundaries. And here you're setting boundaries with people and you're saying, look, it's not that I'm not going to ever talk to you again, but what we are not going to do anymore is that I'm not going to continue to pour my energy into you, right? You're going to stay at this level or at this boundary with me, right? Stay outside of that comfort zone, outside of that energy siphoning zone, right? Because I'm saving my energy for relationships that also are reciprocating, right? So when I give my energy into those relationships, I'm also getting my energy revived and refilled and nurtured by them as well, right? And so this is a little bit deeper understanding of 8 of Cups, and why I go into it a little bit longer is just to give you a fundamental idea of what the difference is. You're both moving away, turning your back, but for very different reasons, very specific reasons. So let's go further. I'm not quite sure if this is still in relation to each other. This may just be how you're dealing with your other areas in your life, right? You may be dealing with somebody who's turning their back on a job, moving away. You may be turning your back on certain friendships, but you guys may still be together. Now, how you see each other, this is where we get into your energies with each other. Now, your person sees you as the High Priestess and you see them as the 7 of Pentacles. So they see you as someone who's very, very spiritual, who's very sensitive. They certainly see you as the person who brings a high level of, I want to say, strong feminine energy and intuition. This is the High Priestess. She's the keeper of secrets. So it can be that sometimes someone sees you as the High Priestess, they may see you as being very private, being very sort of private, very secretive, and not that doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it is something that people can recognize. You may have a trait of being quite elusive, quite secretive. You may not give up, all your cards all the time. It may be difficult. You may be the type of individual is a little bit difficult to read, right? And all of these things are actually really good skills and good values to have in this today's society. You don't want to be sort of an open book, right? To everyone. But in any case, your person sees you as that. But I do feel like they see you and they have a high level of respect for you. They have a high level of sort of confidence. They understand that you are a very in tune individual. They're probably going to think that you're very in tune. That might be one of the things they really enjoy about you, is the fact that they feel like you have a real sort of you are really connected, really in touch with that higher sort of way of thinking, understanding, experience, etc. In any case, it is a level of real respect there, certainly. Now, how do you see your person? You see them as the 7 of Pentacles. Now, the 7 of Pentacles is the card for sometimes it's considered a card for failure, but sometimes it's not even that. It's just that you're reevaluating what you're going through. You're reevaluating sort of your rewards that you're reaping from all of the work you're putting in. And sometimes it can feel like, well, is it enough? You're really kind of in that space where you're like, wow, is this really what I've been working for? Is this it? Is this is this enough? There's certainly not an overwhelming feeling of like, wow, this is great. And so this is certainly a period where you're just feeling a little bit unsure about whether or not your dreams are actually being met. 7 is always the number for dreams and aspirations. So with all the 7 cards, there's an aspect of our ultimate wishes and goals being fulfilled and what stands in that way. And here it is it is a lack of fulfillment. right? So it's not necessarily failure per se, and sometimes it can manifest as failure depending on the reading, etc. But it is also just a lack of fulfillment, a lack of feeling like you've really reached your wish, you've reached the true goal for your life, etc. And so you see them as that, and so it could be that you are seeing your person as someone who's right now quite pessimistic. You may be seeing them as feeling very unfulfilled right now. You may be seeing that they are very contemplative, that they may be quite unhappy with where they're at with their career. You're seeing this in them, right? So you're seeing them go through this. I don't necessarily think that you see them as a failure per se, but I think that you see that they're right now going through a difficult financial issue, right? And so now I get back to the original cards here, which seem to suggest that this could be for about each other or others. I think that this is more a case, Gemini, of your person being unhappy with perhaps their work, right? Their work or their business or career. They may be in a field where they've really had to struggle and battle with certain people, and that's amounted to a certain sense of loss or not really being able to achieve what they really wanted to achieve. They're wanting to move away from it, clearly, Six of Swords. And I do think that this is not necessarily about their relationship with you. Interestingly enough, that you would still resonate with Eight of Cups, which is a feeling of walking away from certain relationships that are still draining your energy. But we'll come back to that. I'm going to tease this out. But for right now, you're seeing your person really struggling financially with being happy, being fulfilled. They certainly work very hard. Now, Seven of Pentacles doesn't mean you haven't worked hard. This is someone who's definitely worked. They've been tilling that garden. They've been working on that garden, but they're just not satisfied with with what they're getting back, right? They're not satisfied with the fruits of their labor. Now, how do you guys see your roles in the relationship? Your person sees their role in the relationship as the Knight of Pentacles. So they see themselves as the one who has to, deliver the goods. They may be feeling extremely sort of unhappy right now because if they are not happy with their career, if they're reevaluating their sense of fulfillment or failure in their career, then seeing themselves as the Knight of Pentacles in this relationship, which is the one who is the breadwinner, who makes sure all of the financial stability is there, that he's the one who gets it done. The Knight of Pentacles always achieves his goal. For him to see himself this way, he or she could be really going through a real sense of self-esteem issues, self-confidence. They may be just feeling really, really down about themselves right now, if this is the case, right? Because they certainly have a high ideal about themselves. The Knight of Pentacles is the most committed and achieving knight in the deck. This is the one who will absolutely achieve his goal because he's methodical. He won't stop. He is slow. It takes him some time, but he's single-minded, about achieving that task, that pentacle. Now, you see yourself in a relationship as the Ace of Swords. So you're the one who's bringing a lot of clarity, I think, and understanding. I think that you feel like you're the one who really has to come up with a lot of the ideas, a lot of the self-esteem as well. I mean, Ace of Swords, excuse me. Ace of Swords is also that feeling of vindication. So not only is it the sword of truth, the sword of clarity, of understanding, of new information, of inventive thinking, clear-headedness, logic, right? It is then by nature also the sword of self-esteem and confidence and believing in oneself and not having a negative image, but always having a positive image and a strong image. All of these things are the positive emotions and thoughts that we associate with the mind, the ego, and the swords. So you feel like, I think a lot of the times that you're bringing a lot of the self-esteem and confidence. You're probably the one who may be always talking to your person about cheering up. And now we get to the Eight of Cups and why you're feeling like that. And I think that the way you're feeling is that you're a little bit drained. And so although you're not completely walking away from this relationship, I do think you guys are together. There is a Four of Wands here to remind me that, and to remind us that this is a strong union, right? This is a committed union, but there is a feeling of you being drained by having to be the one that is always very sort of like, you're the Ace of Swords here. You're the one who's always having to be confident, pick your person up and remind them that they can do it. You may be the strong sort of enthusiastic, energy behind all of this, but it's feeling like this week you feel drained and you just feel like you can't do it, perhaps, and this can also be Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups can also be, remember what I said, it's boundaries, and it could be that this week you're enforcing a little bit of boundaries with your person, in as much as, look, I can't always be the one to pick you up because you're draining me. Right? Sometimes I need picking up, but it just seems like I'm only the one picking you up. And right now you're just very much in like this space where you're like, what do I do with my life? What do I do with my career? I'm unhappy, and it's like the energy that I feel here tapping into this sort of situation and the scenario is that your person is very draining. Right, that a lot of it, what's very draining is that they may be even quite sort of macho or masculine about it, in the sense that they see themselves as the Knight of Pentacles, so they may be unwilling to accept help or advice. They may be sort of just feeling like it's all on their shoulders. They have to be the one, and when it's not working, it's like you're forced to have to deal with this failure as well, because they're unwilling to really accept any help. Could be. Let's get some clarifiers, and then we're going to call this a reading. It's interesting outlook. Love is there, and Four of Wands is there, which could indicate that you guys may actually be married, right? You may be in a long-term relationship with this person. It could be. It could be just that you guys have a strong bond and a strong union, but it's just like this particular energy dynamic that's happening, or a power dynamic. I want to say it's an energy dynamic, because I don't feel like anybody's trying to play power games. I think it's just an energy dynamic where you're dealing with somebody who is somewhat pessimistic and maybe a little bit, I want to say, self-sabotaging or unwilling to accept help when they should, right? And you love them, but this is what it's like. And for you, it's quite draining. And for them, of course, they're unhappy, right? So it's like a way, there has to be some kind of way to fix this sort of energy dynamic so that it's a lot healthier than the way it is right now. Doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship's going to break up or anything like that, or is in jeopardy, but it just means that this is the week where some of this gets discussed. Justice comes in to rebalance, and Ten of Wands. Well, that's what they need. Seven of Pentacles. There you go. There's your unhappiness. And Four of Swords. How to move forward. So this is interesting. Ace of Pentacles is at the bottom of this deck. So we're talking about money coming in, certainly. There will be money and finances. It could be involving a new business, right? Your person may be indeed getting ready to start a new business. Somehow a really good opportunity, I would say, is either coming in, or it is about this new opportunity that a lot of this angst and the emotions are happening, right? In any case, there is something really heavy happening business-wise, career-wise. It's a new thing, and it's really throwing you guys to a certain degree for a loop, certainly perhaps your partner. So let's get into it. Justice and Ten of Wands. This could be what it is as well. There may be an event coming in for your person, right? Now, your person may be dealing with a justice event, a court decision, documents that need to be signed, a contract, etc. Any kind of official business may also be coming in to really rebalance the situation. They may have been struggling with a certain situation at work that, for whatever reason, there was some kind of official event or court or something like that, or a decision that needed to be made. They are moving away right now from all of the struggling and strife. It could be that this Ace of Pentacles has come in the form of justice. Money may have just come in, or a decision may have just come in to rebalance everything. They have a Ten of Wands, which is them finally being able to let go of some burdens. So it could be that all of this is really working out for them, about to work out for them, or getting ready to work out for them this coming week. A lot is going to be rebalanced. They may indeed come right back to feeling like good about this Knight of Pentacles energy, right? And for you, though, it's interesting because this is all coming in. So this turns out like their situation is actually going to be turning out quite positive. But this is interesting. Seven of Pentacles. Again, it's a feeling of, Here we are, Seven of Pentacles has come out again. A feeling of really sort of being unhappy, having had unrealistic expectations about what was going to come out, just not being satisfied with the fruit of your labor, realizing that you're just not happy. You know what I mean? And it's interesting that this will come in as a reclarifier for you. Although this is how you see your person, it could be that for you, this is having a knock-on effect, right? You could be feeling, well, look, I'm not happy either with the state of the finances. And I'm not happy either because it's like I put my bit into it. Also, I've put my bit into the relationship. I was expecting for us to be doing well or us to be doing better than we are. And there is a feeling of really being unhappy here, right? A feeling of sort of a sense of failure. And then you have Four of Swords, which is like, okay, well, where do I go from here? Right? So it's interesting that you feel like that, Gemini. It could be that you have been feeling secretly like you are just as unhappy with the relationship as your person. You may have been feeling like, you know what? It's interesting. It's almost like now things are changing, right? So now positivity is coming in. You have the Ace of Pentacles. You have Justice, which certainly comes in to rebalance the situation. It almost feels like this week coming up is exactly the week where your person is getting a lot of this rebalancing, healing. Money may be coming back in from a certain situation where they were owed money, right? They're certainly letting go of burdens. But it feels to me like up until now, you probably have had to deal with quite a lot. Right? Yes, it's all coming to fruition now. It's all coming to a good place and completion now. But up until now, you've been dealing with your person being very sort of disappointed, very sort of difficult probably to live with the Seven of Pentacles. You're certainly resonating over here with a lot of mixed emotions. Eight of Cups, a desire to put boundaries in place and not to have your energy so sucked away, right? Seven of Pentacles being reconfirmed as a feeling of sort of failure and not having really amounted to what you expected and just like, what do I do now? Four of Swords coming in for you, feeling like, okay, well, what's the best way forward? Trying to be very strategic. And it's certainly with yourself, seeing yourself as the Ace of Swords, as the one who brings the clarity and the understanding and the vindication, right? So that's interesting. Again, it feels like to me that this has been a long road, right? You've hung in there because you love them. I guess this reading is coming out for you, Gemini, because it's meant to let you know there is positivity coming out of it. You have an Ace of Pentacles. You have Justice. Rebalancing is coming. And if this is just a case of you being at the end of your rope, because you've been dealing with the emotions of all of this. You've been dealing with propping your partner up this entire time and keeping them going until they waited for this justice event to come in and for everything to work out. Then fair enough. But things are going to work out if you're resonating with this reading, right? And it could just be for you to just take a moment. Yes, take a moment, take a step back this week. Let your person know exactly how exhausted you are also. Just because they're exhausted doesn't mean you aren't also exhausted. Seven of Pentacles is showing up for both of you. Right? So there's a real feeling of Four of Swords energy here, also feeling like how to move forward. Just take a moment to step back. Four of Swords can also be patience, a truce. You want to maintain your stability. So just calm down. Everything's going to work out. Let me pull out we have pay attention to red flags. And forgiving and learning. So there you go. So those are the two messages. Pay attention to red flags, forgiving and learning. Things are coming in that are working out. Still be vigilant. Pay attention to if there's anything else happening or if there's, energy exchange that is once again reminding you of that same dynamic that you can't keep up here with the Eight of Cups, which is very important, right? Remembering that you just had enough of pouring too much energy into something. Pay attention to red flags for that, but certainly there is room for forgiving and learning because you guys are both, certainly your person's situation is about to turn up, right? It's about to really turn up and be good and positive. Certainly, the situation to do with career, Ace of Pentacles is coming in, 10 of Wands, release, justice certainly comes in to rebalance. All of that is good stuff. So there's definitely room for forgiving and learning and getting some of that energy back, right? For you, Gemini. But yes, continue to pay attention to red flags, because at the end of the day, you don't ever want to be completely sort of drained, right? And you don't want to feel like that, because eventually there is going to be resentment that comes into a relationship if all you ever feel like is that they're draining you and that you're not getting anything back, right? All right, guys. Oops. Move this over. You guys know I'm just like crazy about making sure my cards are out. Okay. That's it. I'm going to leave it at that, Gemini. This is your reading for March 15th to the 22nd for an outlook in your life with a connection with someone in your life. That certainly there's love there, but it's been a long slog. It's been a long period of you really being the strong one in the relationship, and it's almost like just at the finish line when everything starts to come in, you are exhausted and just need a break. And it's always good to really talk to each other about that, right? Certainly let your person know how you're feeling going forward. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to leave me a comment. Let me know how you feel if you're going through this, if you've experienced this. Share it with the collective. Check out your other readings in the description. But for right now, I'm just going to say, Gemini, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week for your love outlook. Bye-bye now.